Hi guys, how you all doing? So I thought today I'd like to share a couple of tips and stuff with you, but once I show you a couple of these tips, I'm going to be giving away the car that I'm restoring. So I'm going to start with the chassis, and then I'll work my way up to the tips that I'm going to give you when it comes to body shells, but I'll get to that once I get to it. So to start off with, I'm just going to show you the chassis. Some of you will know what this chassis is, some of you will not know what this chassis is. Some of you will know just from the wheels of this chassis. But anyway, this is the Kyosho Sierra 500 Cosworth, the Texaco livery one to be exact. So, I bought this off of eBay, blah 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 blah. I'm not going to go into how much I paid for it, blah 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 blah, who cares. Anyway, I bought the car. Obviously I knew it needed work, but it needed a lot more work than I thought to start with. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I've done to the chassis so far. So the tires were cracked and split. So this one had cracks and splits in it, and so did this one. I'll tell you how I fixed that. I've got the pogo stick suspension working as well. That was a little bit crappy. This is rear wheel drive. I've also got that rolling. I've also added bearings on the wheel hubs. So this has got bearings on both sides. Obviously being rear wheel drive, these just free roll. So these wheels also have bearings now, where they were just running bushings. In here, so there's like 3 of these in here which has got gears. They're the only ones that still have bushings. I haven't managed to replace these bearings. But I do believe these bearings are like the size of the Tamiya bearings. From what I gather, because that's what I used in the back of here is like Tamiya bearings. And I've used the small, basically the small ones that you get in the TA01. On one of the gears you get a really small bearing on one of the gears, and I'm running 2 of them bearings in these wheels because they fit in there. So yeah, that's what I'm running in it. So yeah, I put bearings in it. I've got it rolling. I've got the servo up and going. So yeah, I've done quite a bit of work on that. How I fixed these tires, guys, and I'm not going to lie, this one was the worst. What I did is I used some super glue, pinched it together, and then I used some of this stuff, which is actually for sealing wires and stuff. So there's this stuff. So once the glue had dried on the tire, I just used some of this stuff to fill in the gap and brushed it over just to put the rubber back onto it, basically, so it seals. Kind of like when you get a puncture in your cars, you know what I mean? When you get a puncture, say a nail goes through the wheel, they usually put like a rubber bung or something in it. Once they pull that out, they pull that through your tire and then clip it off. Like they put glue around it and then clip it off, do you know what I mean? And it seals your tire, so it should be alright. So yeah, I just used this, guys. This is actually used for like waterproofing your wires and stuff, is what I used on my MN86 to seal the wires for the lights and stuff at the front. I'll use that stuff. You can get this anywhere, guys, like literally anywhere. So yeah, I've got all this up and running. I'm waiting for the ESC to come so I can get the chassis up and working. And then with the body, wasn't in the best of conditions. So initially there's a split along here. It's actually quite a big car for a 1/10. It's more like the size of like these kind of cars. There's another one coming down here. It's all messed up here, but once I re-sticker it should be alright. And there's another crack right here. Obviously, there's some splits along here too, like along this bumper section. But I'll give you a couple of ways you can fix this, guys. Like, it's not going to be permanent, you know what I mean? If you whack the front end, it's probably going to break it. But there are a couple of things you can do to help. Usually what I do is I'll try and line up the crack the best I can, dab it with some super glue like from the inside, and then what I'll do is I'll use like, so if I do it with the super glue, I'll do like I'll put the super glue onto the gap, hold it, wait till that kind of seals the gap, then put some more on the back and reinforce it with, you can use like bicarbonate of soda, like baking soda, you can use some talcum powder. Another good one to use is polystyrene, like polystyrene and super glue. Like once you mix them two, like polystyrene and the super glue goes really hard, the same as it does with the baking soda and stuff. So you can kind of use that trick, which I usually do quite a lot to repair like splits and cracks. There's also another little trick you can do as well, which is to get oh, let me just grab it a second. This is another trick I use as well, guys, but you've got to be really careful doing this. Is to heat up your soldering iron. Once you've done the glue trick from the other side, this also helps, and then that would be to take your soldering iron and literally just kind of just melt that back together. But you want to do it really gentle, but make sure that the plastic kind of trails across that split. But you just do it really lightly. You can also just like melt some plastic onto the soldering iron. So you put some plastic onto the soldering iron and then just literally just gently like feather it onto the split or the crack. You can also use that method to fill in splits and cracks as well, but obviously being a hot soldering iron, you've got to be very careful, like not to hold it on there for too long or you're going to melt a big hole in it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's another good way. So you just kind of like feather it over to kind of like melt the plastic. It's almost kind of like you're sewing it over, or like a tattoo. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like a tattoo, more like. So yeah, you can just literally do that. And yeah, guys, obviously just don't hold it on there too long. Just feather it over. Anyway, I've got a whole new sticker kit for this, but the sticker kit didn't come with the windows, which is bringing me to the point of the tip. Another tip I've got for you as well. Like, so if you've got a shell that is not too bad, but the windows are a bit crappy, you can use a really good trick, guys, which I used on my TTO2 Cosworth, the Tiger Stripe one, which is to get, I've also used the same trick on my Skyline, but I've done it on the bonnet and on the roof. On the Cosworth, I've actually done the windows. So you can make yourself a little stencil like this. Just put some tape across the window. Take something to try and push around your window mesh. And that's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it your window mesh, your window trim, whatever you want to call that. So you kind of just like embroider it. So I used... no, where's it gone? Give me a second, I'll grab it. I use this kind of stick, is almost like I'm a bigger cocktail stick. I just use that to like run around the inside of the window, so I get the kind of embroidered, so it's like made the indent of it, and then run around it in a pencil. Stick this to the back of your vinyl wrap, cut this out, and then you should have a window that'll fit. So I was going to do these windows blue, but on every car I look at, these do not have blue windows. They've either got clear windows or black windows. When I take this off to cut round this, I'll take a picture of the front window, and then you'll see why I'm using this trick to cover the front window. A lot of this shell, once I've fixed it up and put the stickers back on, sand around some of the edges, like I've had to cut off like about that much all the way around the front bumper. I've had to trim the arches out. I've had to take about that much again off of the back bumper. But once I re-sticker it and that, I'll sand it after I've stickered it. And the reason being I'm going to do it after I sticker it is because if you start sanding it now, you're going to end up with little bits of plastic. And then when you stick the sticker down, it's going to make it bumpy because maybe you didn't remove it when you wiped it over. Do you know what I mean? So there's still some little trails of it. So yeah, I'm going to leave the sanding until last. But yeah, guys, so that's one of the cars I've been working on, is this Kyosho Sierra 500 rebuild. The other car I've got is already built. It's a new build. I'm going to tell you the chassis size. It's a 210mm wheelbase. But I'll do a completely different video on that car. The car isn't running because I haven't got the electrics in it, but the chassis is built, the shell's done pretty much. It needs a little bit of sanding, but it is pretty much done. It just needs a little bit. And yeah, I'll show you that one in another video, guys. But on this one, I'm going to leave it there. So please like and subscribe, leave any comments before I go, just so you can see. Here is the sticker kit, see? So here's the sticker kit to redo the whole car. But I'm going to do this trick with all of the windows. So I'm going to do this trick with all of the windows, do the windows. I'll carry on fixing up the bits I need to. I'll re-sticker it. I'll sand all the bits out. And then when I've done all of that and got it up and running, like, I'll keep you updated as well. I'll show you bits as I've done it and stuff. I've also got the spoiler as well. I forgot to mention that. I got the spoiler. Is de-stickered, is up on the shelf. I'm not going to bother getting that. I'm not going to just show you a spoiler. It's pointless. But yeah, I'll keep you updated on this, guys, and yeah, you'll see how it turns out. I'm not going to run it with the stock electrics. It did come with like a big radio. It come with like the old style kind of Tamiya speed controller, which I've got the resistor right here, but the resistor is actually broken. Like, I don't mind using this speed controller. They're actually alright, these old speed controllers. They work pretty well. For forward and reverse anyway, do you know what I mean? They're not that bad. But what I don't want to run is the old radio gear. I don't like old radio gear. I don't like the crystals. They're big and bulky. You've got to use 8 batteries. I'm going to be using 8 batteries in the controller, but I'm going to be using it anyway. Basically, I'm going to be using like one of these E-tronics ones, basically. One of these up here. I'm just going to stick one of them in it for now. I'm just going to stick, I can't remember what ESC I've ordered, but it's only a brushed one, but it was only like 20 quid. I think it's like a hobby wing one. So I'll chuck that in there. I'll get it up and running. I'll get the shell going and I'll do a video on it, guys. Yeah, if you got any other tips or questions, or you want to ask me anything, leave a comment below. And yeah, I'll see you next time, guys. Please like and subscribe.